A good friend of mine, Denny Elliott, asked me to be a part of this thing, and that's pretty much how it happened. He was our state 4-H leader in natural resources and camping, and I was a county extension agent 4-H in Marion County and for 32 years, so we've become good friends, and he kind of said, you ought to get involved in this, John, and that's how it got started. I didn't know about it until Denny said something about it, and he was on as an officer at that time. So that's how I got initiated into the 50-year club itself. It's kind of a best kept secret.
When it comes to the band, my first year was 1950, when I was in the All-Ohio Boys Band. In 1970, I became historian for the All-Ohio Boys Band, so that's been 45 years for that. And I've been historian for the 50-year club for 10 years. In the beginning, we were in tents over by the railroad tracks outside of it. And then by 1952, ended up in what used to be the National Guard building. And that year after I was out of the band in 54, they moved into the Rhodes building, the students. And that's a lot nicer, believe me. It was living in the tents and living in the Guardian of the National Guard place. You had no air conditioning, and you didn't have good food either. But it was fun, and it's so nice because you meet so many wonderful people when you're in the organizations like that, and that's something that makes you really very happy that you actually get an opportunity to do that.
Ralph LaRue and I were sitting in our office, and Governor Rhodes came in, just kind of wandered around the office and said, tell you what we're going to do, have a big sale, raise a lot of money, send a lot of kids to school. And then he left. And Ralph looked at me and said, well, I guess we're going to have a sale of champions. And so that's how the Sale of Champions was created, literally. That was 68 or 9. And Ralph and I orchestrated it with the Ohio Boys Band back then. Now it's the State Fair Band, the Ohio Youth Choir, and Governor Rhodes and Jerry Kaltenbach and others would work with buyers, the Wendy's of the world, Dave Thomas's, Bob Evans, other people like that, and we created the Sale of Champions, which now is on TV. Ray Miller, who's a very active OSU alumni, and he was on the board of the 50-year club. And he called me last July or August and said, Tom, as we go off the board of the 50-year club, we're supposed to replace ourselves, and I'd like to nominate you. Well, I thought he was kidding. I know him fairly well. I said, well, Ray, I wouldn't qualify for the 50. Oh my gosh, I would. And that's when it dawned on me that my first project here was 1959. I couldn't believe it, to be very honest. So, yeah, that was and so this is my first year on the board with John Fark, whom I've known for years, and Denny Elliott, and some other people.
So I served 2 years on the Ohio State Junior Fair Board back when Governor Jim and actually Tom Calhoun was our advisor to the Junior Fair Board. And we did a lot of exciting things regarding the fair. It was an exciting experience. We actually escorted some of the stars, like some of the big name stars that came on the stage, the old wooden stage in front of the grandstand, the old wooden grandstand at the fair. We escorted, went to the airport and picked them up, brought them in. Charlie Pride was one of them, I remember. So we were very, very much involved, as well as introducing people at the different venues on the fairgrounds, the different stages. So that was an exciting time. Plus we worked hard all day, and then at the night we got together over in the youth center and kind of partied around and just had a good time getting to know each other and having a good time together. MC'd different programs. I had the opportunity to MC the independent, county and independent fair queen contest, actually where I met my wife the first time. She was a runner-up. I tried for the queen, but it didn't work.
I met my husband at this fair 55 years ago in the cattle barn. I was supposed to be introduced to him, and they introduced me, and then he got my car into the fairgrounds because he had a pass, so that really impressed me. And he took me on the Mad Mouse ride. I sped up my graduation so we could graduate at the same time, and we got married in '62, and we've been married for 52 years.
So in the mornings, I would get up early in the morning and hop the fence. And all you needed was a fire plug. You could get right over the fence real easy when you're standing on the fire plug. But I would hop the fence to go over and sell newspapers early in the morning. I would hit the cow barns and the horse barns and sell newspapers to the exhibitors so that they could see the results of the previous day's judging. Then I would go back out through the gate, get my hand stamped. I mean, they just had the old pencils, different colors for each day, and different symbols, might be a star or a half moon or something like that. But I would run home real quick and transfer that to my mother's hand or my brother's hand or whomever, and so that we could all get in free for that day.
I was state 4-H leader for Ohio for 17 years and was out here every day. And that was back when we had the state fair under Jim Rhodes, Governor Rhodes, for a lot longer than what we have now. Livestock Sale of Champions was started when I was state 4-H leader, and Wendy's and Bob Evans and others paid big money, and they're still doing that. So there's just a lot of exciting memories here at the Ohio State Fair.
My favorite thing is the people, because some of these people I don't see but once a year. So you come back to a particular program or luncheon or honor ceremony, and you see people that, again, we're your 4-H advisors, we're your camp counselors, we're directors of the Ohio Cooperative Extension Service of the Ohio State 4-H program. I love sitting in whatever audience it is and hearing the choir sing or the band play, whether it's in the front row or whether it's 200 yards away, and just the whole atmosphere of the fair is tremendous. It have a lot of memories, because sometimes we'd work 80, 90 hours a week when I worked here, and I'd lived in the youth center. You ate, drank, and slept at the Ohio State Fair.
As we grow older, we begin to appreciate those friendships and relationships more and more each year, and appreciate those friendships with those people that you've become close to and shared great memories with, that you can reminisce about and appreciate. If you've ever been to the fair as a participant or an exhibitor, or as in a leadership role like I was on the Junior Fair Board, you're more than welcome and encouraged to participate. There's no initiation fee or initiation rights of any kind. You just come to this meeting and say, I'd like to be a member, and you're in.